Hey everyone, I wanted to hop on here live to talk about something that we're diving deep into in my small group Love for Life BFFs. So, one of the things that's really poorly understood in our society is men's emotional needs. And you might think to yourself, oh, what do we have to learn about men's emotional needs? What about our emotional needs? Because women are generally very aware of our own emotional needs, especially because they're often not being met, especially because it seems like men don't understand them. And so there's a conversation, a large conversation going on about women leaving marriages because their emotional needs were just failed to be met for a long time. And so that conversation is very valid, and it's something that I dive into in my other pillars of my Love for Life method, such as putting yourself first and effective communication. When you learn how to inspire a man to give you what you need, right? Because this is a give and take, but we can't demand things. Um, so this concept of men's emotional needs, I think it's so critical because when people say men have needs, you know what they're talking about, and they're not talking about emotional needs. And so it leaves women with this really impoverished perspective on men. So we think, well, if I meet that need, he should be happy. Or we think, oh, that's all men want. They're so, one track minded, and they're so superficial. They're just beasts. And it couldn't be further from the truth. And that's partly because there's a huge conversation going on where women are wanting sex from them and they're not getting it. And so if men's only need and their primary desire in life is for sex with somebody, with a woman with their wives, why is that not happening? Why are they turned off? And I would argue that one of the main reasons is because their emotional needs not being met. So just like a woman, over time of their emotional needs not being met, it's just a big turnoff. You're just like, I don't feel connected to this person. I don't feel like they like me. So I'm not really in the mood. Um, and that can go down to even just apathy of not being supportive, not being helpful, not being communicative, not being in a good mood. And all those things are often the result of men's emotional needs not being met. So we dive really deep into this in my programs, but I'm going to give you the graphic I use and explain the tiers and how they build on each other. So this here is my little graphic. So the bottom level, we got respect, appreciation, acceptance, trust, and admiration. Respect, appreciation, acceptance, trust, and admiration. So respect at a fundamental level. This is not to say that women don't have these emotional needs too. Of course, we want to be respected and appreciated, accepted, trusted. All that stuff is important. But when I say these are men's emotional needs, what I mean is that it's like their love language. You can call this like the masculine love language, right? If you want to love a man really well and you want him to experience your love, these are the things. So respect is a lot about what you don't do. No criticism, control, manipulation, or mothering. We often think that we're being loving when we're meddling, when we're giving advice, when we're over functioning with a man, and he processes that as disrespect. You don't think I can handle my life. You don't think I can figure stuff out myself. Advice giving, you should do this, why don't you do that? Second guessing, eye rolling, interrupting, minimizing his hobbies and passions, because men are not particularly emotionally expressive, we think things don't bother them because maybe they don't say anything. So we'll make snide jabs because we're feeling frustrated, or we'll poke fun at something that actually bothers us. And all these things just get filed away instinctually for him as I'm not even respected here. Like, forget about love. This person doesn't even respect me. So one of the critical things that I learned is that when we're trying to get to a man and talk to him, we often do too much and we invade his space. We interrogate him. We try to draw feelings out of him. So one of the fundamental ways to respect a man is to give him room to be himself and give him room to make his own decisions. This is a whole topic unto itself because once you understand how potent this is, you become eager to do it because you can see how soothing it is. Basically, when you meet a man's emotional needs, you create emotional safety. And that's what we need to open up. That's what we need for intimacy. That's what we need for connection. Number two, appreciation. I almost put this at number one because appreciation is just so critical. You cannot overestimate the importance of appreciation to a man. Um, our culture nowadays says, oh, these are baseline things. I shouldn't have to say thank you. This is just the bare minimum. Why does he need a cookie? Why should I celebrate him? I don't get celebrated. And it is absolutely counterproductive. It is ruining our relationship. And I can tell you, I had those perspectives once. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But if you appreciate a man, it's fuel for him. If he's depressed, if he's unmotivated, if he's not being helpful, he's not getting enough appreciation. Appreciate him and he'll be raring off the couch to do stuff. Like, he wants to do things for you, and his only ask in return is that you appreciate him. So if you can start saying thank you for every little thing, and if you can all start saying I appreciate you, it's going to light him up. It's going to fill his heart. Number 3 is acceptance. A man is only human, just as I'm only human. You know that song, I'm only human after all, don't put the blame on me. Men feel as though they're held to impossible standards. They feel as though whatever they do, it's not good enough. They feel as though it's not okay for them to have weakness, not okay for them to falter. They know they're not perfect. Men are actually very hard on themselves in their inner world. Their self-talk is really vicious a lot of the time. And so when we see the ego or we see the defensiveness, we think, oh, they think they're so great, they're so self-aggrandized. But often that is just their defense against shame. And what they long for is a woman to see them for who they are and not try to change them and not try to say you're not good enough and you need to step up here and there. This doesn't mean we don't ask for our needs to be met, but we do it from a foundation of, I accept you as you are. If you didn't change, I would still love you. I would still be loyal to you. Acceptance and loyalty very much go hand in hand. For a man to know that you love him and you want him as he is, and you're not going to drop him if you go through some crisis. You're not going to drop him if he's struggling. To feel secure and open up to you. Trust. Trust is so critical. It's something we lose when our feelings are hurt. So as women, our feelings will get hurt a few times and we'll start to think he doesn't care about me, he's not paying attention to me, he doesn't love me. Essentially, you're not trusting his heart anymore. You're not trusting that he's there for you, that he's got your best at heart. So trusting a man is not trusting him to be perfect, not trusting him to let you down. It's trusting that his heart's in the right place, trusting that he's doing his best. And if you can keep that positive intent, you're going to be able to weather a lot more conflict and you're going to be able to communicate way more effectively. As for trust, it's also trusting his thinking. That means if he has a way he wants to do something, you just let him do it. You don't do it this way. Why would you do it that way? Why don't you do it my way? It's like he has a way he wants to do it, and it might not be your way, but if it's not going to burn the house down, just let him do it. And just, again, this is about giving him space to do things without leaning on him, breathing down his neck, nattering at him, right? Give him some room. And then the final and pinnacle of needs is admiration. And that is exemplified by the Google eyes gazing up at a man when you're madly in love with him. You just think he's the best thing in the world. And this sates a man so deeply that a woman would see him in that way, that his wife, the woman who knows he's not perfect, would see him this way. That if you can remember the things you admired about your husband when you got married, if you can focus on the areas where he's better at stuff than you, or he has talents that you don't have, or he's successful in ways you're not successful, then you can access that genuine admiration instead of focusing on the ways that you're better than him, or you're more skilled than him, or you're ahead of him, right? It's human to focus on the negative. It's human to find things that are wrong and pick at them. There's nothing inherently wrong with you if you do that. It's just going to destroy your love. So the discipline of creating a lifelong love story is choosing to focus on the positive over and over again, choosing to express the positive over and over again. John and Julie Gottman, the leading researchers in marriage studies and relationships, say that you need 5 positive interactions to every 1 negative interaction just to maintain equilibrium. So if you don't consciously cultivate these positive interactions, you're going to go into the red. It just happens naturally. So that's the men's emotional needs in a nutshell. I'd love to hear your comments. What's it out for you? What have you seen work with your husband? What have you seen tear him down? And what would you like to improve in the way you interact with him? Because all my work is about self-responsibility. It's about, I have this life. I want to make it better. I want to create a real life love story. So I'm going to work on the only thing that I have true control over, and that's my own behavior. If you want to go deeper into these things and you want to really pull apart all the little knots in your marriage with me, send me a message. But I hope this was helpful to you, and please let me know if it was. Have a great day.